Okay, I'm at 6227 Stover Avenue in Cincinnati, Ohio, doing a sanitary lateral inspection for the purchase of a four-family building, apartment building. We're looking for any structural issues, root intrusion, anything that would be concerning to the buyer or the potential buyer. Our access is, there's actually two stacks, one on each side, one for the right 2 units, another one for the left 2 units. Should go out to one stack, or should go out to one, like a main line lateral going out the front of the building and tying into the main. So we're starting on the one on the right side of the building. I believe this is the farthest one away, and we'll take a look and see where those two tie in. And so this is cast iron, and cast iron is not a bad material, but it does rust, as you can see, so it's hard to see. You can't tell how thin or thick the pipe walls are. Basically just looking for functionality. Now, none of the fixtures on down here I think are even turned on, and I'm not going to attempt it. There are bathrooms on both sides down here, but the toilets are not on. They're not full of water, and they are stinking. And so the biggest thing with cast iron is trying to avoid any kind of like wet wipes or anything going through here, just because they do catch easier. You can see the white stuff is basically grease coating that line. Cast iron, because of the rust, it's just a lot rougher, and so you have a lot more chances of like having a lot more chances of getting like wet wipes and stuff caught and having soft clogs. So you can tell somebody's flushing the toilet and running some water upstairs. There is a whole house inspection going on at the same time. And so, at least we'll get to see how the line functions while we're going through it. That camera lens is only about a ½ an inch from the bottom of the pipe, and so this isn't that isn't that much water. It's not real difficult to cover it. And so we're going to see if we can get this to make this turn, because it looks like this is where the line exits the building. That is where it turned in. It is still, looks like it is still cast iron, but this is the bigger line. Should be heading out towards the front. So far the line's looking pretty good. We do have some build up here on the camera, so we can get it to rinse off. Here we are going out into play, and so we have just exited the building. You can see that like weird reflection on the top. It's not anything major. We got some spider webs, and we have what looks like a big offset and some roots. We may not be able to get through this spot already. I may have just poked through some roots. I did. And so there is some root intrusion. You can see how that is draining. I was able to poke my camera through those roots. And so it looks like at the very minimum this is going to need to be cleaned. We'll see, hopefully we can get all the way to the main. There's multiple spots here with some root intrusion. concrete pipe at this point, because I can went from clay to concrete. The concrete is in much better condition, keeping all the roots out. A little tiny bit here, it's 8 feet, 79 feet. Yeah, the concrete pipe looks really good. Close to the main, based off the footage. We're not that far from the road at the building. So, okay, I'm going to pause the video, try to run some water through here to help the camera get a little bit further. But we should be really close to the main. I'm out 100 feet, so I'll pause the video, try to run some water. Okay, some water running, hopefully that'll help get the camera going a little further. So we made it all the way out, and I'd say for like the last 50 feet in the concrete, the line looked great. We had some root intrusion in the clay up closer to the building, and the cast iron inside looked about normal for its age. You know, not great, but it's functioning. So we pull back, we'll take a look at that, and we'll watch the water flow also. It's about 110 feet all the way to the main. So, as we pull back, I am pleasantly surprised with the concrete. But all this concrete looks really good. I mean, you can see from the years, you can see some exposed aggregate or like rocks, basically, with the concrete that's been wearing from years and years of use. But all looks pretty good. a tiny bit there. That's not anything concerning. This is 78 feet. So there's one little tiny spot of leak. Probably some packing that's kind of scorched it. Here we go, about 60 feet. Bit of a low spot there with the water, because the water's flowing. Oops. Right here, a little bit. Now we're back in the clay. This is where the worst bits of roots are. You can see all that stuff breaking loose. Low spot, looks like a low spot with some roots getting in. The camera is getting past it, and that's why I don't know if it's just the roots that I think it's just the roots that are holding back the water. That's at about 53 feet. You see how we're up against that root. I think if you clean that out of there, that water would be sitting in that area. And that's like right after it turns to clay. Back into the cast iron. That's at about 4 feet there. The cast iron does look pretty good too, and I don't see any holes or anything. Again, you got to watch what you flush down here, and you also do have to watch the. You can't really tell how thin or thick these pipe holes are, so there's always that possibility that it could be closer to rusting through than you think. I'm going to pause the video right here since I got back into the main line. I'm going to see how close we are with that other, how close we are to the other stack, and see if we need to go through that other stack or if this is just at the base of that. So I'm going to pause the video and do a little coup. Okay, we're only like 2 feet from the bottom of the stack, so we basically looked at it. It comes in right next to where this is. So I'm going to just run some water in the left side units and make sure that it's coming through okay, and we'll go from there. Okay, should be some water running by. That is coming through that stack. You can see when it comes down to that stack and turns, and basically runs right there. So you can see it coming through easily. As if they're running some water for me. Everything looks good. It's not building up at all. It's coming through the same speed it's going in. Everything looks good there. Does have a decent amount of buildup through here, nothing crazy. It all looks pretty normal for cast iron. Just rough. So again, you know, you may run into situations where you get some soft clogs from people using wet wipes. If you can get them to not, it would be great. But with rental property, sometimes it's hard to make people understand that. Areas where it's wearing out and building up deposits on the side walls. Now, in these situations, you can have it like descaled, which is basically they run like a chain on the end of a cleaner through there, and it knocks off all the rust and opens it back up to its original diameter. But you're also, based off the age of the pipes, you could also risk, because you don't know how thin or thick the pipe walls are, sometimes you risk putting holes in the pipe. I don't think that this is old enough to really worry about that much, but that would be somebody else's decision to make. Overall, the pipe looked good structurally. The only thing I saw was some root intrusion, and looks to me like, that's the big thing, is just it does need to be cleaned. And then in the future, obviously, unless you make sure that all the trees near here are removed, you're not going to be able to stop the roots. So you're going to have to do some future maintenance just to be sure that the roots don't cause any future issues. And so mainly, you can either try to use a chemical treatment like Rudex, use that periodically, yearly or so, or just have it cleaned every 3 to 5 years if done well. They can do it from that to the floor clean out right in front of the washer and dryer. That'd be a good access point for the cleaning. But again, if you have somebody dedicated for maintenance, you could also put that Rudex in there about once a year, and then maybe have it checked in a few years and see how bad the roots are, or if the chemical is keeping them, at bay. But overall, yeah, the line looked good structurally. Didn't look like they were holding any solids anywhere except for that one spot, which I believe was somewhere around 44 feet or so, with the real heavy root intrusion where it's starting to hold back water. But other than that, especially out in the concrete, the line looked really good. Had some minor root intrusion out there, but nothing major, nothing that was down in the flow line causing any obstruction to flow yet. So yeah, just going to recommend a cleaning and some future periodic maintenance, and should be good. So it's going to end the inspection at 6227 Stover Avenue in Cincinnati, Ohio.